羽ばたいたら戻らないと言って目指したのは青い青いあの空
My fellow viewers, Shinobi, and Anbu operatives, I bring to your attention a clear and present danger. Shinju Mamushi's pursuit of Eida. Decisions are being made before the final blow is ever struck. Information travels, or force cannot reach. Allies hesitate, adversaries advance. And the distance between intention and accident begins to disappear. In this chapter, the question is not who will fall, but who is already in motion. Before anyone realizes the danger has arrived, watch closely, because in the space between calm and catastrophe, every choice becomes a weapon, and every observer becomes a potential casualty. The countdown, I assure you, does not begin with impact. It has already begun. Six Mamushi clones close in. Kobu stands frozen in terror, a civilian trapped in a war meant for monsters. Inside him, Inojin hesitates. He doesn't want Kobu to die. Kajin Koji's voice cuts through the panic. Release the mind transfer. Inojin refuses. Kobu is just a man, a bystander, a name on a registry. The will of fire, made mortal. He shouldn't die, even if he's a hindrance. There's no room for debate, and Koji gives a deadly reminder that's colder than mercy. You'll die along with him. Mamushi lunges. The frog shrieks a warning. Inojin, undo it now! Kobu's body jerks sideways, clumsy, untrained, and barely avoiding the strike. Koji never expected this amount of stubbornness. He orders once more to disengage. Inojin silences him and answers like a shinobi who has already accepted the cost. If I can't protect someone under such conditions, then I don't deserve to call myself a shinobi. The choice is made with outstanding consequence. There are no clean deals in this shinobi life. Elsewhere, Eida stares into silence. The transmission has gone dark. Damon suggests the Senrigan. She pauses that ability because Mamushi doesn't just duplicate, he can see her when she uses it. Through eyes, through vision, through connection. If she looks, he looks back. And if he looks back, he finds her. On the streets, Sarda and Delta sense it. The calm is wrong and too still. Then it fractures. One Mamushi clone demands that Eida reveal herself. Another, likely the original, calculates the risk. She needs to take one look at us, and she's done. We'll know where she is. The clones turn on each other. Divinity collapses into instinct. Predators become an irrational mob. Delta and Sarda exchange a glance. The Mamushi scorches the clone with a psychotic pride. The villagers flee from danger. Elsewhere, we return to the unfinished conversation. Sai's voice is controlled, but thinner than usual. Is Inoji safe? A fair question, as any father should ask. There is not much time. All Sai needs to know is who the true enemy is at this point in time. Shinju Mamushi. Sai wants answers since he still holds the oversight of the interrogation. There isn't time for reassurance. Shikamaru clarifies not with authority, but with what a Hokage can control in this dialogue. We are shinobi first and foremost, before we are parents, especially during an emergency. The safety of the village and all its citizens is our priority. No argument follows. Sai understands this. Another mission beneath the surface. Another layer is unspoken, just like the land of wind with the sand ninjas. He exhales and shifts back as a shinobi. Tell me what you need me to do. Back to the chaos. On the blazing streets, the citizens flee from the Mamushi's infighting. A bystander trips up. A Mamushi clone leaps for the kill. Suddenly, the gravity shifts, and Sarada Uchiha rises in the air like the divine ascension of a goddess. Mangekyo Sharingan, Uhirome. Black orbs bloom. Singularities masquerade as suns. Every Mamushi within her gaze is pulled inward and crushed by gravitational force. Delta is amazed, but Sarada has to clarify that the gravitational force will only lock on targets in her line of sight. Delta catches on. She takes flight and targets remaining Shinju who are out of the area of effect of Uhirome. Every laser beam from her eyes and every bladed kick wipes out the Shinju menace on the streets. Sarada finishes the job when the captured Shinju have exploded into debris, just like her last opponent in Chapter 21. Her beautiful eyes bleed as she lands on her feet. You cannot have a Uchiha legacy without blood and blindness from the Mangekyo ability. We return to the livelihood of Kobu. Kajin Koji did not anticipate this level of resistance. He snaps his fingers. The mind transfer fractures. Inogen collapses back into himself. Get a hold of yourself and move on. He's done for. Koji exclaims reality. Kobu blinks awake and disoriented. The Mamushis have ganged up on the feudal officer. Inogen's emotions are triggered by the premature release of his jutsu. Koji dismisses his reaction and instructs him to restore the mind transmission formation. Kobu just woke up and wonders where he is and why these monsters have surrounded him. Inogen's voice cuts through the transmission and alerts Lord Eighth that Kobu is on the rooftop and urges a rescue from the Shinju monsters. Kobu won't die right away. The Mamushis need a punching bag to vent their frustration. Shikamaru and Sai arrive on the scene, but Mamushi would light him up like a bonfire. The will of fire in literal fashion. A heroic flight splits the sky. Boruto descends upon the Mamushis and swipes with a clean arc of his blade. All clones eliminated. His karma absorbs the flames off of Lord Kobu. Shikamaru steps forward with a reiteration that spells out the state of emergency. Kobu nods, but his eyes hold something unresolved. He isn't finished with his investigation. Consider this a delay to terminate the Hokage's standing. Sai escorts him for medical treatment. Boruto's gaze shifts to Koji's frog. Coincidence or calculation? The frog deflects with an ambiguous response. You might not consider this an answer, but in my personal opinion, that man needs to die. The mind transmission reconnects. Reports cascade in. Sarada, Delta, Team 10. 200 Mamushi confirmed, possibly more. Low cognition and IQ rapidly declines from the endless replication. No longer invasion, but saturation. Shikamaru reveals the next phase that stuns Eida upon hearing it. She is now the bait to lure Mamushi. It's Damon's turn. A true wild card in the Shinobi deck of cards. This was never about stopping Mamushi. It was about drawing him out for the final move. To be continued. Now let's talk about the state of the Shinobi system in this Anbu political memo. And so there's much public chatter that originates from the very first chapter of Boruto, when Kawaki exclaims that the age of Shinobi is over. So let's observe carefully, and let's also just clarify a few things in the narrative if the Shinobi era will come to an end or if it will prevail, especially in times of emergency. And so, to establish the institutional continuity, 5 great nations still stand. Hidden villages operate as semi-autonomous military states. The Okage system persists, intelligence networks remain functional, Anbu Black Ops divisions silently enforce protocol. And so in essence, the machine moves even when no one is watching. The Shinobi system is intact, if largely invisible. What we need to point out is the difference between militarization versus modernization. Scientific ninja tools supplement or bypass traditional jutsu. Peace between nations diminishes large-scale conflicts. Force is quieter now, but not absent. In this modern era of Boruto, Shinobi no longer strike first on battlefields. They manage crises, as an example of what just happened in chapter 30 and 31. They patrol in the shadows, and they enforce the rules the public never sees. And so that comes with the public perception that has shifted in the years of the history of Naruto and Boruto. Shinobi are no longer mythologized. Now they are quiet artifacts of history. However, the world forgets the shadows until they act. So when we say the end of the Shinobi era, that is merely just a narrative, but not the reality. The system still survives. It simply whispers rather than shouts. And so to put it as a theoretical analysis, history in modern times outside of fiction, history always has a pattern that's always carefully orchestrated. So peacetime can breed complicity, complicity invites vulnerability, and vulnerability invites crisis. From what you can take from these chapters, both from Boruto Part 1 and then Part 2, where we're currently in Two Blue Vortex, with so much peacetime that was established, it took an existential threat of the Otsutsuki and later on the Shinju to really make the Shinobi's role more important than ever before. Shinobi will always be the ones to respond to a state of emergency and a crisis, because they already have the logistics mapped out. Calm is the prelude to exposure. In moments of existential threat, nations do not summon machines, but instead they will summon people who will act when no one else can. While technology can replicate force, it cannot replicate judgment under moral pressure. It cannot replicate loyalty forged in shadow and blood. It cannot replicate the will to step into the unseen. The ones who act are rarely noticed until it is too late. The Shinobi is defined not by era, weapon, or village. They are defined by function. The function to act when others hesitate, to endure when systems collapse, to protect stability from threats the world refuses to acknowledge. So, an ominous note that needs to be considered is that some defenses are invisible, some guardians untold. Even if institutions dissolve, the philosophy remains. Even if villages modernize, crisis will summon the capable. So, what we can take as a final assessment, the age of visible shinobi may fade, the necessity of shinobi never will. Peace may sleep, but the shadow never does. And so I challenge you to think, has the age of shinobi ended? Will it actually end when we finally get to the conclusion of Boruto? In this path ahead, what makes moments like this dangerous isn't what they reveal. It's what they quietly take away. After Chapter 31, the battle still exists. The village still stands. The pieces remain exactly where you last saw them. Nothing appears broken, and yet something irreversible has occurred. Distance has collapsed, intent has sharpened. What once demanded force now requires only patience. The threat no longer needs to announce itself, because it already has been invited inside. Chapter 31 does not end with destruction, it ends with access. Inogen chooses hearts. Sarda unleashes power. Boruto executes intervention. Shikamaru engineered the outcome. Every other character moves emotionally or kinetically. Shikamaru moves intellectually. The quiet man in the room shifts the entire board. When access is achieved, the next chapter does not ask if something will happen. It asks how long it has already been happening before anyone realized the danger was never gone. Until then, stay vigilant. Handsome Hokage out.
シャララいつがきっと僕は手にするんだ儚き胸にそっと光燃えてゆけ
Code so bad I sound like Naruto. Because I'm gonna be greater than any of them. Me, Naruto, the next Hokage, a ninja legend, believe it!
A Christmas Carol. For you. From Mother Uchiha. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Mother Uchiha is coming to town. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. Going to find out who's naughty and who's nice. Mother Uchiha is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Mother Uchiha is coming to town. With little tin horns and little toy drums, rooty toot toots and rummy tum tums, Mother Uchiha is coming to town. And curly-haired dolls that toddle and coo, elephants' boats, and kiddie cars, too. Mother Uchiha is coming to town. The kids in girl and boyland will have a jubilee. They're gonna build a toyland town all around the Christmas tree. So, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Mother Uchiha is coming. Mother Uchiha is coming. Mother Uchiha is coming to town. Merry Christmas.
暁は集ったイタチ刻む